Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I am Syed Akif Shah, lecturer finance at Institute of Business Studies, Kohart University of Science and Technology. The title of this course is Business Research Methods, and the course code for this subject is MS 312. This is lecture number 9, and the topic for today's discussion is Hallmarks of Scientific Research. The outline of this lecture comprises of the two agenda points, which is what is a research, and secondly, the hallmarks of a scientific research. So dear student, after listening to this lecture, you should be able to define what is a research work and what are the hallmarks or the solid features of a scientific research. Like what should be the main points or agenda needs to be understood so that a particular research may be considered as a scientific research. Let us discuss the first agenda, which is what is a research work or a research study. A research is simply the process of finding solution to a problem after a thorough study and analysis of the situational factors. Let us highlight or underline the main points of this definition in order to understand what is a research work or a research study. So research is simply a process. The first point, we need to focus on the understanding of what is a research is that it has been defined as a process. It means that we need to follow or adopt certain number of steps in order to reach to the conclusion or final findings of a research study. So it is a process of finding solution of what a particular problem prevailing in any organization or in a particular country, if we are talking at a macro level, and in the micro level if we are talking about a particular organization, which we will discuss shortly, a particular research topic prevailing in any organization setting. So basically, research is a process to find out solution to a problem prevailing in organization or in a particular city or in a particular country or another way around in the continent or all over the world. So we need to find out or understand where the problem is prevailing, and then we need to follow certain process steps in order to reach at the solutions. So after a thorough study means that we need to understand the problem and its setting, environment where the problem is prevailing or existing. And after a thorough study with the help of literature review, or if we are studying the problem in a particular organization via observation or real-time information, but still we need to study that how the particular problem has been tackled down by the researcher in different organizational setting or in the different countries. And the final section explains that it is the analysis of the situational factors. So research work is basically a process in order to find a solution to a problem by a thorough study work and the analysis of the situational factors, like what could be those factors which are causing a problem in a particular organization. Or another way around, we can also define a research work as it is an organized, a research work is an organized, systematic, data-based, and already explained that it is a process, so therefore we are just explaining that a research work is an organized effort. It must be a systematic. It should have a data, needs to be incorporated in methodological section of the research work so that we reach at a particular solution of the problem. Research work is a critical, it is an objective, a scientific inquiry or investigation into a specific problem. So once again, a research work is to find out solution to a specific problem with the help of an organized, systematic, data-based, critical, objective scientific inquiry or investigation into a specific problem undertaken with the purpose of finding the answer or solution to it. So basically, how can we define what is research work? Research work means that finding solution to a particular problem. And what is a scientific research or a proper research? A proper research definition is it is an organized, systematic, database, critical, objective, scientific inquiry into a specific problem undertaken with the purpose of finding answers to the solutions. Basically, there are two types of research. One is known as basic research, another one is known as applied research. Basic research work is to find out the solution to the problem, which actually increases the knowledge into the existing body of literature. Whereas the applied research work is considered a particular problem prevailing in an organization in order to find out the solution to it, which is particularly relevant with that organizational setting. For example, if a particular product has a low sale and that manager working in that organization would like to know about the reason why this product sale is low. So after a thorough study and with a solid answer, the manager has reached to the conclusion that the motivation level with the motivational level of the sales representatives are low. So this was the basic reason for low sale in their particular product. So such kind of a particular research which actually belongs to a specified or certain organizational setting is known as applied research. The second agenda of this lecture is to discuss about what is a scientific research and what are the hallmarks of a scientific research. So basically, there are 8 hallmarks of a scientific research. It means that the existence of these 8 points will make a particular research work a scientific one. The first one is it has a particular purpose, purposiveness. A scientific research must have a rigor. Third, testability. Fourth, replicability. Then precision and confidence. Objectivity, generalizability, and parsimony. In our next slides, we will discuss these 8 points one by one and how these make a particular research work a scientific research. The first hallmark of a scientific research is purposiveness. A researcher has started research with a definite aim or purpose. This means that whatever topic or whatever the problem researcher has taken into consideration to find out the solution, it has a particular aim or purpose. Like without aim or without a particular purpose to fulfill, no researcher is looking to follow or to adopt certain number of steps in order to waste his or her time. So any research to be a scientific research, it has a particular aim or purpose. For example, in a particular organization, if a manager is looking to find out answer to a particular problem, then this study will have a solid purpose or aim. Like in the example, we can see that a research topic which is under consideration is how employees' commitment to an organization can be increased. For example, a manager is looking to find out what could be the factors which can actually enhance or increase the organizational employees' loyalty and commitment with the organization. So now this, in order to find out solution to this question, manager will adopt certain steps to complete this research work. It could be an interview based, or it could be any financial factor, and increase and decrease in that financial factor may increase the employee's commitment into the organization. So the problem with this manager is that the turnout ratio of the employees working in this organization may be increased or maybe more than expectation, so which generally creates problem for the manager in order to run the routine operation of the organization. And this manager is looking to find out the solution to the problem, that how he can increase the employees' commitment and loyalty so that the turnout ratio of the employees may decrease. So now this study has a particular purpose. The purpose is to find out what are the factors that causes the employees to turn over their job, or what are the factors which causes the employees' commitment to the organization may be increased. Like what factor should be increased in the organization, like increasing the salary or increasing the motivation level or involving the employees in the organizational decision may be the prospective factors to increase the organizational commitment of the employees. So any research to be a scientific one, it must have a purpose. Second, rigor. A good theoretical base. Rigor means a research work may be considered as a scientific research if it has a good theoretical base and a sound methodological design would add rigor to the purposive study. It means that any research work to be a solid one and a scientific one, it must have a theoretical or literature base which will help you to make a conceptual or theoretical framework, and later on it must have a solid methodology, like your research must not be based on your own observation and personal likes and dislikes, or your research work must not be based on hunches and simple guess of the researcher or approximation. Rather, your research must have a solid empirical or any other sound methodological design which will be applied and adopted or may be adopted by anyone later on. Only in this case your research may be considered as a scientific research if it has rigor in your study. By rigor we means it has a sound theoretical base which is a solid literature background, and as well as a good methodological design must be adopted. The third point to make a research work a scientific one is testability. It means that your hypothesis must be a testable statement. Good scientific research lends itself to testing logically developed hypotheses on the basis of your theoretical background or conceptual framework to see whether or not the data supported the educated conjectures or hypotheses that are developed after careful study of the problem situation. So in short, we can say that your logically developed hypothesis must be a testable statement. It has a nominal, ordinal, or a ratio data existing in your model or methodological design. And these statements, this numerical data may be testable via statistical packages. Finally, once again, we can say that the logically developed hypothesis. What are hypotheses? a statement, a conjectures which may be right or wrong statements. For example, as we have taken how to increase the employees' commitment with the organization, so we can make a hypothesis that increase in the salaries of the employees may increase the organizational commitment. Or we can also say that the involvement of the employee, if the involvement of the employee in the organizational decision may increase, it will definitely, or we conjecture or hypothesize that it may increase the organizational commitment of the employees. So such kind of statements must be testable, and we can collect data with the help of structured and unstructured interviews from the employees we are studying in our research work. The fourth point is replicability. A good scientific research has more faith and credence in the findings and conclusion if similar findings emerge on the basis of data collected by other researchers and organizations employing the same methods. It means that whatever research you have conducted as a researcher, if that particular factors and the methodological design has been adopted by another researcher in another organizational setting, the same results and finding must be emerged on the other researcher's work. So the more replicability in your research work is, the higher the chances are there to generalize your study, and as well as such study may be considered as a scientific research, because if another person is following the same steps and procedures, he or she may come up with the same finding and conclusion. So the replicability means that the similar results may be found by the other researcher if similar pattern, similar methodological design and variable has been used by them. The fifth point to make a research work a scientific one is precision and confidence. As we have discussed and studied in statistics subject, we have discussed the precision and confidence. So what is precision? Precision refers to the closeness of the finding to the reality on the basis of your sample of study. Like confidence interval we have studied in statistics. Like we can say that our particular value may be between 20 and 30. If the mean value of a particular factor is between 20 and 30, it has 10 units of confidence interval. And if another study is explaining that the resultant value may be between 25 and 30, so we can say that this confidence interval is more precise than the first one, which was 20 and 30. So our result, which we are trying to find out as a mean result of our study, must be precise enough to be packed in a lower confidence interval. And by the confidence we mean that our research work must be, confidence refers to the probability that our estimates are correct. Like we are confident about the research findings and results. As we have discussed in statistics that like 95% confidence interval is acceptable norm in the social sciences. And we have heard the hypothesis that a researcher may conjecture that 95% confidence level is the acceptable norm in the social sciences, and there is only 5% chance of error. For example, a researcher says that this study can confidently explain that like 95% chances are there that the involvement, if the involvement of the employees in the organizational decision may increase, it will result in an increase in the organizational commitment or loyalty. The sixth point is objectivity, like conclusion drawn through the interpretation of results of data analysis should be objective. Like your answer and results on the basis of this research work must be objective enough, and there must not be subjective statements. They should be based on the facts of the findings derived from actual data you have included or incorporated in your research, not on your own subjective or emotional values. So a scientific research must be objective enough. Seventh hallmark is generalizability. It refers to the scope of applicability of research finding in one organizational setting to the other setting. It means that your research work must be generalizable to the other organizational setting. The conclusion is, wider the range of applicability of your solution generated by research, the more useful the research is to the users. It means that the findings you have given in a particular organization, as we have started a research topic discussed in this lecture, was how to increase the employees' commitment with the organization. So let's say if we have come up with our finding that the increase in the decision making, if the involvement of the employee in the decision making process may increase, it will ultimately increase the organizational commitment of the employees. If similar result finding may be come up by the second, third, fourth, and so on other researcher in different organizational setting, it will conclude that your research work is highly generalizable to the other organizational setting, and it will definitely increase the applicability of your research work, and therefore it will be considered as a scientific research. Last but not the least, parsimony is another hallmark of a scientific research. It is actually the simplicity of your model of research. So simplicity in explaining the phenomena or problem that occur and in generating solution for the problem is always preferred to the complex research framework. Like for example, if the 95% deviation or influence in your dependent variable has been affected by one or two variables, independent variables, then you are not required to use 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, so on and so forth variables into your model, because it will make your model a complex one. So simplicity means that to use the less number of variable in your model, which may explain the alteration or influence in your dependent variable. Like for example, if 95% of the variation in the dependent variable has been explained by only two dependent variables, like 1 and 2, for example, in our case, we can say the increase in salary and involvement of the employee in the decision making may increase the organizational commitment of the employee. And if the 95% of the variation has been explained by only two variables, then you are not supposed to incorporate, for example, 8 other variables into this model in order to find out the remaining 5% variation which may be caused by those factors, because the 95% of the variation is usually a larger confidence interval and it has a solid explanation power into the model. So we should be least concerned about the remaining 5% variation in the dependent variable caused by the other 8 variables which are unknown. So if your model may explain the 95% of the variation in dependent variable caused by two variables only, then this model is known as parsimony model, and this may be preferred than the one which has 10 variable in total, like including these two and the remaining 8 variables, which may slightly increase the explanation power of the model, which is not usually preferred than the simple model. So this was all about the 8 hallmarks of a scientific research. Thank you very much for listening to this lecture. If you have any question, you may ask. Good luck for the day. Allah Hafiz.